Congressman Cory Mills, Republican from Florida, joins me now. Congressman, you're a former Army sniper. Why didn't the snipers take the shooter out sooner? I'm thinking maybe we need to change the rules of engagement.
Well, actually, I worked with the State Department for their counter-sniper team, is where I actually did a majority of my training and all our experience. But yes, there's a lot of reasoning that we need to get this investigation going. We need to look at and request and subpoena the sniper data books. We need to look at what their range sketch showed. We need to look at the rangefinder and what they had actually laid out as far as where their threats were and how they indicated them. We need to know why there wasn't enough resources to put someone on the roof, which they claim had too much of a slope. But in fact, when you look at the roof, it's nothing that's, out of the norm for most people that actually get up there. Where did the ladder come from that was by the building? Why wasn't this individual picked up sooner? And if it's a resource issue, Varney, then I would ask, why not at least put a single patrol car with the doors locked and the lights on in the parking lot as deterrence? There's so much about this advanced team's work that I want to have as well. I want to know what the advanced team looked at, what they identified as a threat, whether they deemed the water tower that was a couple hundred yards away, which is actually a pretty easy shot as well, but especially a building that's 160 yards, perfectly adjacent, perfect line of sight to the president. Why wasn't that indicated as a high threat and a way to mitigate that by putting someone up there? So there's just too much about this that looks at not only just gross negligence or dereliction of duty, but how much of this could potentially be intentional? How much of this was overlooked? How much of this, there's just, I don't want to take anything off the table until we have an open investigation by the House.
The New York Post reports that First Lady Jill Biden helped get Kim Cheadle her job as the head of the Secret Service. There's some question here that identity politics may be playing a role in her appointment, running the Secret Service. What say you?
Well, this is the issue, Varney. When you go ahead and prioritize DEI, you get DIE. We need to get back to meritocracy. We need to get back to who actually qualified the best with their weapons, with their service weapons, with how they're actually operating proficiencies and tactics and motorcade operations. We need to get back to understanding that these are people's lives. Our political candidates and even those who are nominees and even those in elected office are constantly receiving different types of death threats as, not only the rhetoric ramps up, but also the fact that just we're in a very tumultuous, kind of time. And so we need to also look at some other things. I think a J13 style commission is warranted here, Varney. I think that we need to be really digging into this because you want to talk about a J6 select committee that was illegitimized. You want to talk about saying go home peacefully by President Trump as a way to incite violence. What about the rhetoric said by President Biden where he said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye? I mean, these are very, very troubling things to say from the president as, the United States. I go back to Henry II where he said, can no one rid me of these troublesome priests, which resulted in his knights killing the Archbishop in Canterbury. And so, I just want to look at this from a completely open perspective. I don't take anything off the table, but, they tried to silence him, they tried to imprison him, and now they tried to kill him.
Yeah, he was a meddlesome priest is what he was called. But anyway, Cory Mills.
That's right.
Thanks very much. Just precise language there. Congressman Cory Mills, thanks for being with us, sir. Okay. Now
Thank you, Varney.